Hey, this is Mitch with Mass. Hey, if you like this content, please make sure you like and subscribe. Tell a few friends to have them tell a few friends. And we'd really appreciate a comment or two as well. Doesn't take any time, a couple seconds, and we appreciate it. Have a great week.
Right. Welcome back to Middle Age, Still Single, the podcast. We have a very special guest today. Really looking forward to talking to her, but let me get the fellas out of the way here really quickly. Nas, how are you today, sir?
I'm good. Let me talk about this little bad boy right here.
Okay.
This is a little bit of summer fragrance. The brothers got to get the summer fragrance. This is Versace Eau Fresh.
Versace, right? Okay. All right. Nemo, how are you, sir?
Good. Another day, another $10,000 in the bank. Let's go.
All right. Fancy. All right. Mitch, how are you, sir?
I'm good. I don't have any fancy spray cologne or anything, but I tell you, I'm wearing this the sun and sea air from Hawaii, and it's fantastic.
Don't worry about it. I'll get you together.
All right. And I'm super happy to introduce Miss Kat Cantrill. She is a matchmaker extraordinaire, dating coach. She is our very special guest today. Introduce yourself, Miss Kat.
Well, I'm so excited to be here. Thank you, gentlemen, all of you. So, like you said, I am, my name is Kat Cantrill, and I am a professional matchmaker and dating coach. And I feel like a part of my job is a couple of different parts. First is to help people understand that there's more to connection than swiping right or left. Either that or the bars, that there's more to connection. Also, I feel that part of my job is to help people again after these last couple of years of a pandemic and everybody being cooped up. I feel like a lot of people are really just practicing getting out there again, connecting. And so I do that in a variety of different ways, from helping people actually find one another through matchmaking, helping people have more clarity through dating coaching. And then I do have singles events, and then I do host a live dating game show here in my community. So yeah. It's a little bit about me.
A little bit. Okay.
Awesome.
Let's talk about that game show. So I saw online the videos of the game show. Looks like a lot of fun. Like, whose idea was that? Is that something you came up with?
It is. It is something that I created. So my backstory is I'm a natural entertainer, and I was missing the stage and thought that I would combine both worlds together. So I came up with this concept of a live dating game show where I combined, let's just say it was love connection with the dating game, where it was interaction from the audience. And I had it this past spring. I had it in March of 2022, and I had I believe 12 contestants and over 200 people that were in the audience, and it was a huge success. So I'm planning on doing it again, actually, this upcoming October. I'm very excited about it.
Now, I think I read that you're from Arizona, right?
Originally, yes.
From Arizona, okay. And
yes.
How did you make your way to the Midwest?
A man brought me here. Okay. My ex-husband actually now, but yes, I met him in college, and he was originally actually from Detroit. So I moved from Phoenix to Detroit and actually lived in Detroit for 10 years. And then through the recession, it moved us here to, I'm currently in Iowa, moved us here to Iowa. And then within that next year, I went through this pretty drawn out long divorce and just stayed here. Instead of going back to either Phoenix or Detroit, I decided to stay here in Iowa and raise my kids. So I've been here ever since. Yeah.
Now, you also did this thing that I saw that I thought was a genius thing. The headshot happy hour?
Yes. Oh, yeah. We talked about that, didn't we?
We did talk about that a little bit. I thought that was a great idea because you explain why you did it, and then we can talk about it.
Absolutely. So one of the top complaints that I get from women when it comes to online dating is profile pictures of men. and the bathroom selfies. And that's part of my job, is to help men understand the types of pictures that they should put on their online dating profiles, because believe it or not, 70% of dating profiles are men. 30% are women, 70% are men. Yeah. So part of my job is to help men stand out. And so what better way than to help them actually have a professional headshot as their main profile pic, because people are more prone to swipe right if your profile pic is not a selfie or not a bathroom pic. So you want to make sure it's something that is professionally done. And so what I did is kind of bring people in by having it as a happy hour, because sometimes people need liquid courage when it comes, especially comes to taking your pictures. So yes, we had head shop happy hour, and it was great. People came and had some cocktails and had their headshots professionally taken. And then I coached them as a part of the process and coached them on their profiles. So yeah, it was a huge success. I loved it.
I thought that was genius. I really did. Because I know that's, that's a huge issue. I didn't know 70% of men, make up, 70% men make up, dating apps. That's amazing.
Yes. Yes.
Naz, I know you got some questions for the lovely Miss Cat.
Yeah, let's start off with a light one first. I had a pretty good time watching you do the 24-hour transformation with the one young lady.
Thanks.
Your initial conversation with her, she didn't feel too confident, about herself.
Yes.
But once you made her up, you put her in some nice clothes, and she came out. She was, by the time she got to her third outfit, she was modeling. She had loosened up.
Yes.
How does that feel doing that? And I mean, I know it has to have an impact on you too, but the ladies, I'm sure it has a really, really, really high impact on them as well.
It's, I think that we do a really good job of getting in our own ways in so many different getting in our own way in so many different ways. And women need permission in order to invest in themselves sometimes. And when we find ourselves in a rut, it can be really difficult to get ourselves out of the quicksand. It can be really difficult to find that branch to hang on to. And so I feel that part of my work has to provide people that branch and to give them hope and to give them clarity of understanding of what's in front of them. And sometimes it could be as easy as getting a new haircut or putting on a jacket or just leveling up just to a certain degree to where because if we feel good about ourselves, it's a natural confidence booster. And especially in the dating world, if we're not feeling good about ourselves, the type of partners that we attract can be a true reflection upon that. So it's awesome to watch people transform, whether it's through their clothing, through styling, whether it's actually becoming more of an empowered dater to where they're attracting better partners, or to getting those emails of telling me that they're in a relationship. I mean, it's all of it is part of the process of helping you become the best version of yourself. So
that's pretty awesome.
Nemo,
how has okay, I just have one more question. I'm sure that helping people to find themselves and has had an impact on you. Can you give us some insight on how this journey has helped you?
Wow. You know what? I don't know if anybody's ever asked me that question, honestly. It has affected me more than I could even truly have words for. I've been very lucky, I feel, in my life to where I have this knack of working with people and helping people see themselves the way that I see them. And it has completely changed my life and how I view myself and my worth, and understanding that the work that I do is much bigger than when I love to think that people claim that I'm extremely humble, and I hold true to that, but I do. It's like a proud mom moment. It's like my clients are, I'm very much the matriarch in all of what I do. And so it's like when I see people succeed and flourish and grow, it's like a mom moment. It's like I become extremely proud. And, in coaching, you don't want to be someone's coach forever. A successful coach will coach you to the point where you no longer need to be coached and lets you go. And to me, that's like allowing and watching my clients flourish and grow. Like that is like such an incredible, amazing feeling. I have no words, but yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that.
No, thank you. Yeah.
Nemo, you had the yellow flag up?
Yes, sir. My question was actually a two-part question, but I think you just touched base on the second part of it. My question is, how long have you been doing this, and how do you define success? But I think you just kind of explained it earlier too.
I did. You're right. I would say that is the definition of success, is giving someone the tools that they need in order to level up. And I think it's interesting, as a matchmaker, people will ask me, what is my success rate? And I ask, it's interesting that you say that, Nemo, because that's my question to them. I'm like, well, what is success to you? Is it being married? Is it having a successful, healthy dating life? Is it having great connections? Is it being in a relationship? Like, what is your definition of success? And it makes people sit back and really reflect, like, what is it really that I'm looking for? Because sometimes the relationship that people are looking for is the relationship they have with them, that they need to have with themselves first in order to attract that partner that they truly deserve. As far as matchmaking is concerned, matchmaking is a relatively new aspect to my business. And the reason why I got involved in it is because being a connector, I've always been a connector. I've always built safe. I've been coaching for over a decade. And my focus for the longest time was just women, helping women with all things and all problems. And the more, the pandemic is what really shed light on where I was supposed to transition and my next steps. And more single women were coming to me because the pandemic shed light of something that you're missing. It caused everything to slow down to where people are like, maybe I do want a relationship. Maybe I do want to have these things in my life that I thought that I didn't want. And I had single women approaching me, telling me that they wanted to have a partner because I've been in a successful partnership for almost 8 years with my partner. And people knew of that in my community. They knew of this relationship that I have with my partner, and people would ask me, where do I get one of those? Where can I get him? Are those around? Can I have one of those? It was the game show. So I niched down, and I've been a dating coach for years, but it was the game show that when I put that out, I had men that were approaching me being like, I don't want to be a part of the game show, but can you help me? And it gave me so much clarity in that moment, realizing that there's two people that are involved in this equation. It's not just women. That men helping men too is really important. And I have both a daughter and a son, and my son is soon to be 24 years old. And so him and I have all these conversations and talking about relationships with him. And it's just like, why am I not helping men? Why am I not including this other part of this equation? And I actually had a phone call with him this morning, and he thanked me for the work that I'm doing with men, because he sees the other side of like sometimes the toxic masculinity that men can get involved with, and that I'm creating, this safe place for men to also seek help and to seek help as far as matchmaking or coaching or whatever it is that they need. And so I put those two worlds together, and here I am. And I love the space that I'm in, and I feel like that this is where I'm supposed to be.
Nemo?
So
I think so too.
Nemo, you got another question?
Yes, I do. My question is, what is the most challenging part of this business?
Oh, I need a cocktail for this one. I'm just kidding. I'm drinking a diet soda. I feel like go ahead. Take a shot for me really quick. People that come in thinking that I'm a drive-through that you can order. what you're looking for.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like specific type. And I'll give you an example. So one of the things that I talk about with people all the time is understanding what their deal breakers are, because we all have deal breakers when it comes into relationships, right? So we've got some compromise that we're willing to make. There is always compromise in successful relationships, but there are some deal breakers. Examples are smoking, like things that, like little kids, if you have grown kids, like there are some deal breakers where you're just like, absolutely not, I can't have this. Well, an example is I had a woman who entered my library that her deal breaker was that he had to be over 6'3".
Wow.
Now, I can't help you. That's not, to me, that's not a deal breaker. Like,
Right.
It's really.
Thank you, Kat.
Yeah. No, the height. Don't get me started about the height stuff. It drives me absolutely crazy. Drives me crazy. Just like with men with measurements, it's the same thing. Like this is not the foundation of a relationship. It's not.
Right.
It's not the stuff, it's not the core stuff that matters. And so if you come to me telling me that you only date brunettes, that you only date like this particular type, that they have to be this and they have to be this, I'm not going to help you. You are unmatchable, is what I say. And sometimes they do. They come
Nice.
and they want my help. And I say, unless we work on these things first, you're unmatchable. I can't help you.
Mm.
Yeah.
I got to be honest, Kat, as the guy here who's 6'3", I'm a little offended by that. Just to let you know, like I got to have some kind of advantage, right? Come on, Kat.
Kat, don't worry about it. The rest of us are under 6 feet.
Come on, Kat.
So he's alone in that.
You know?
It's okay. It's okay.
Well, Nemo, I think Nemo's above 6 feet.
Yep.
It's okay if she's 6 feet,
Okay.
right? If she's 6 feet and she's like, he must be
Right.
taller, I get it. But these women are like 5'2", 5'3", 5'6". I don't. That's
Right.
really, is that the issue, or are you really like, are you really setting yourself up for failure? Like, so that you can purposely say there's no good men out there, but yet you have this ridiculous criteria of what a man should be.
Or they just don't have the understanding of what they're looking for. They know what they want,
Oh,
but they're not willing
100%.
to make the sacrifices necessary to get what they want.
Yeah, because we're in an instant gratification society. They want it like this. And I'm always like, yeah, dating is not supposed to be fun all the time. It actually sucks sometimes.
It's supposed to be a learning
Sometimes you're going to
experience.
have a lot of first dates, like a lot of first dates. And that's just a part of the way that's just the way it is. That's why it's dating.
What it is, right? Yeah.
That's why it's dating. And every time you go on a date, you learn something about yourself, and you learn about what you want, and you learn about more about who you are.
So when it comes time for you to help ladies and or men introduce themselves to the world through a dating site,
Yes.
how do you get past the stigma that dating sites have become? Because, and I have no understanding of this. I've never been on a dating site. I've never written
you
a
haven't?
bio. No. Okay. And by the time I was thinking about doing it, the stigma was so negative that I didn't even want to try.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't know how to set it up. I know swipe left, swipe right. I know the references, but that's the extent of my knowledge. So for our listeners who have never done it and are on the fence, what would you tell them about getting started?
Yeah. So has anybody been on a dating app?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
So it starts truly, okay, so it starts with your intention. So different apps have different intentions. I'm just going to put it out there, right? So if you want something less serious and casual, you go to these particular apps. If you want something that's more insightful and more that people are there that are more like-minded, that are looking for a serious relationship, then you're going to go to some other apps. So first, it's understanding what is your intention, what is it that you're looking for. And just for our listeners, for those that swear by Tinder, I just read a study that 42% of Tinder users are either in a relationship or married.
Wow.
That's like
Wow.
almost half.
So Rob, you need to change the sites you're using.
Yes. So that's the first thing, is like figuring out what is the best site for you, right? So that's the first thing. The second thing is to create, it's usually 5 pictures. So because it's all about pictures, you can read, the bio is important, but it all comes down to what the pictures are. And you always want the first one to be a headshot, always. Second one, you want it to be a full body, always. The next three have to do with your lifestyle. So, and it's always helpful if you have pictures with friends. It always is helpful if it's a picture of you doing activities, something that shows that you have a life, not just selfie after selfie after selfie after selfie, because that tells her that she wants a little magnifying glass into what is it like to be a part of your life. And it's really important for you to portray that in pictures. Most important. And if you don't, I mean, this is something that men, even if you're out and about and you're doing something like, I don't know, mini golf, or like you're at a tailgate, or you're doing something that's fun, ask your friends to take your picture. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, action shots are important to put in your online dating profile. So the next thing is to create somewhat of an insightful bio. So something that's creative enough, but that shows a little bit more about who you are and your personality. And it doesn't have to be paragraphs. In fact, I highly encourage you to not do that. We don't want it all. We don't want to know everything about you. We just want to know just enough so that, again, that she can see herself in your life and like being able to fit into your life. Now, there's different apps have different prompts, different questions. The ones that have the most success in my experience are Bumble, Hinge, and Match.com. Those are the three that I find that most matchmakers recommend, and the ones that I've seen that have had the most success. Bumble is when she actually approaches you, so you can't approach her. But the other two are also, and the reason why Match.com is successful is because it's the most well-known. And so there's a lot more people on that one. That's the only reason why I recommend Match.com. So be insightful about your bio. Act like you care. Women will swipe. If you have an empty bio, she will swipe. No questions. She wants to know that you care enough about being there, and that you care enough about that you're looking for connection. And then when you approach her, you always do not do, hey, what's up? Hey, I like this picture of you. You look pretty. None of that.
How about pet names?
No pet names. Oh, do not, Mitch. You know better than that.
I do.
You know better than that, sir. No pet names. Read her bio and ask her a question about her hobbies, about her passions. It shows her that you read it and that you care enough to contact her. Or if there's a picture and she's doing something, you can be like, hey, if she's like in a winery, you could be like, I love drinking wine. What's your best, what wine recommendations do you have? Take the part out of it that's not focusing on her looks, and it's not focusing on just making that quick connection by saying, hey, what's up? Be insightful about that connection, about contacting her. And I can go on and on, but those are my basic suggestions.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
So one of my questions is, on my first reply on online dating is always, hello, how was your day today? So is that a bad way to start?
Yes.
Right.
You know, we've already told him this, and he just refuses to listen to us. So I really hope you can break this down for him.
I mean, remember, Nemo, 70% are men. You have to stand. If you want her to respond to you, you have to stand out. Do you know how many, hey, how was your day messages she gets in her inbox?
Might as well go with what's up. Sister.
Right. Hey, how's your day? No. No, that's not, to me, that's an easy way, right? That's easy. You want to make sure, especially if you're truly wanting to connect with her, when you contact her, make it about her profile, make it about her pictures, her activities, her passions. Make it all about her, not about just asking about her day. You can ask, hey, how's your day? Is when you've been in a relationship for a couple of years, right? How was your day, honey? Those are the kinds of, when you're first trying to get to know someone, especially with online, you have got to stand out. You have got to stand out.
Miss Kat, so what I want you to do now is give us a feel for when you meet with gentlemen that you're going to match for.
Yeah.
How are you getting to know them? Like, what kind of questions are you asking them?
That's really good questions, Robert. So first, I always set up a 15-minute Zoom call, always, to see where they're at, to kind of get a little bit of a glimpse of the type of person that they are, to see if there's to make sure that him and I are in sync. Because if I don't have a connection with him to a degree to where I know that it's someone that I can help, that most likely it's going to be a no. So at first, I always set up a 15-minute call, and it's just like general questions of, how did you find me? What do why did you contact a matchmaker? And then the first question I always ask is, tell me about your previous relationships. And this is important. And this goes for everyone. This goes for men and women. This is one of the most important things. How a person speaks about their previous relationships, how they speak about their family, how they speak about their jobs is basically, you get a little sneak peek of the type of person that they are. So if immediately he comes out of the gate complaining about his ex, complaining about his ex-wife, complaining about this, complaining about that, that is a dead stop. Dead stop, because this is telling me how he's going to be in future dates, and that is not matchable. To me, that tells me that there's still some kinks that need to be worked out. There's still some work, some inner work of some healing, without kind of going into all of that. But there's some stuff that needs to be done there before I can be able to successfully match. Because as a matchmaker, that's part of my job, is that I don't want to just do buffers. Like, I'm not just going to send you on dates just to hopefully be sitting in my office with my fingers crossed and being like, oh, I hope this works, right? Especially if you're paying me to find you your person, like your forever person, you bet I'm going to be extremely picky about the selection process. So if I feel that he's on the right path, then what I do is I bring him into my office. Or if he's remote, then we have a much longer call to where I go into a deeper dive and find out more about what is he looking for, know more about his non-negotiables, really kind of figure out the type of partner that he is seeking. And the number one thing that I always ask is that, what does love feel like to you? Because I think it's important for us all of us have a different definition of what love feels, what that feels to us. So to you, it may be respect. It might be, makes me feel safe, makes me feel secure. That's a lot of women will say that. Makes me feel safe, makes me feel secure, makes me feel seen, makes me feel heard. Well, there's love is a different definition for all of us. And when it's important for all of us to have that awareness of what that is, because we get so caught up in what's on the surface, right? It's the window shopping. We get so caught up in chemistry and lust and all of these things. But at the end of the day, it all comes down to, what does love feel like to you? And as we start to match and as we start to go through the process, it's like having that checkpoint. Does this person make me feel this way? So knowing what love feels like to you and then anchor it to every potential date that you go on, I think is really important because we can get caught up in all of the other stuff. But at the end of the day, it's really about connection and having love with one another. So if I feel like it's a great fit, then I give you a series of tests, and you kind of touched on it a little bit before, Robert, where I talk about attachment theory. I have all of my clients take their attachment style test because it's really important. So I have a gauge. There's also 7. So I know have you guys heard of the 5 love languages? Mm-hmm. Well, there's actually 2 more. So it's 7 love styles. So I have them take the 7 love styles. I also take a Myers-Briggs just for personality, just so I know a little bit more about their personality and who they are and the matching process. And then also values. I think there's also a test that I have my clients take to know more about their values, because I also have potential matches take these tests so I can see that there's more compatibility there as well. And then we just go off and running from there. Yeah.
Nas, I know you had a bunch of questions there.
Yeah, that's $1 million worth of game for $5.99.
Yeah, it is.
Wow. Yeah. One of the other questions I had for you was, now in modern women, or the term, now we're referring to certain women as modern women these days, right?
Right.
A lot of men, we're noticing the rise of the boss chick.
What's your definition of the boss chick?
I'll use their definition.
Yeah.
You know, they call themselves bosses. They have their own cars. They have their own houses.
Okay.
They make their own money.
Right.
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 And so, but they don't know how to, they've forgotten that there are things that men just inherently want from a woman.
Mm-hmm.
We want our woman to be feminine, and a lot of us want our woman to be friendly, at a minimum to us.
Yeah.
Right. And so what have you seen? Have you run across any boss chicks that you've had to kind of, break that down for us?
So boss chicks, and this is the way that I kind of, yes, it's women who are extremely self-sufficient, independent. They're the ones that are like, I don't need a man. They're the ones that are on this path of, that they are very proud of the lives that they have built for themselves. This is why I'm going to circle back to attachment styles. Most of people that have this type, because there are men that are the same way, except men aren't, it's not the self-sufficient independence. Like, that's the kind of the badge that the woman has. The badge that the men have is player. So men become players in this space where they're not committal. It's very detached. They're able to sleep around, no problem. They're both kind of one and the same, except women they both have their walls up, but it's different. So this is what I would consider as an avoidant. So this is an avoidant attachment. An avoidant attachment, they take, without kind of really, because I mean, we could do an entire podcast about just this alone, but the avoidant, they have been taught since they were a child that intimacy. So attachment theory is how you perceive and how you respond to intimacy. That's the definition. When you're an avoidant, you were raised in an environment where intimacy was absent. So you had to learn to be self-sufficient, to be independent, and to not rely on anyone. And so the moment that intimacy comes into your life, the closer the intimacy becomes, the more the avoidant puts their hands up it makes them extremely uncomfortable, because this is something that they are not familiar with. And the threat of intimacy, when it's there, they feel that their independence is going to be taken away if they're in a relationship. They want a relationship so desperately, but it's such a struggle for them. So instead of like saying, I don't want this relationship, they'll come up with excuses why they can't be in it, where they'll start nitpicking at the partner, start like dissecting them and everything that's wrong with them to justify why they shouldn't be in a relationship. And then they'll distance, and then they become independent. So a lot of these women have had to be independent and self-sufficient for so long that it just has become this wall, and it's really hard to break down that wall. to allow someone in, for them to really allow intimacy in. And that's part of the work that I do. In fact, one of my clients is an avoidant, and I've been working with her so closely, and she can see these triggers inside of her when she's like, oh my gosh, I'm putting up a wall and pushing him away. And so it's understanding and having this awareness that, yes, of course, it's important to be independent. But for those that are listening, this is called the dependency paradox. The dependency paradox is when two people that are in a successful relationship actually become more independent. Because they have that security of one another, they're more willing to take risks, they're more willing to take chances, and you think that your independence is going to be taken away from you. It's actually quite the opposite. You're actually going to become more independent, more successful. You're going to be able to climb the ladder quicker. Whatever that is for you, it actually is a benefit to you to be in a relationship. So I told you I can talk forever.
Well, we love it. I mean, we're all sitting here in shock, like
breaking it down for us there. Cheat code.
Breaking it down.
Yeah.
Yeah. So have you had a woman who has those characteristics? Well, let me say it this way. Mm-hmm. When you have a woman who comes to you and says, I want to be matched up, do you but do you suggest to her to do the work of figuring those things out before you match her up with someone?
100%. Yes.
And I assume for guys the same thing too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Especially if she's avoidant. Most singles are. 25% of the population is avoidant. And so this is why I have everyone take a test. And if I find that she or he is avoidant, because men, there's this stigma that men are avoidant and women are anxious, but women are just as avoidant as, especially if women come to me and they're like, there's no good men out there. All of my dates are horrible. And she's been single and never been married. And she's like heading towards to 40. That tells me most likely that she's avoidant. And it's so much easier to point the finger and to say that all men are this or all women are this. That's the easy part, right? Oh, the problem couldn't possibly be with me. I'm perfect.
Right.
I mean, I'm all of that in a bag of chips. So what, all of the issue is with everybody else. It couldn't possibly be with me.
Miss Cat,
it's with us.
Wow.
And I really want to thank you for spending time with us today. I feel like, seriously, I think we can make like 10 or 11 segments with you.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I really could. And I think by, you helping the four of us, like I've learned a lot today. I mean,
absolutely.
As far as like what I've been doing right, what I've been doing, well, I haven't been doing anything right, but what I've been doing wrong. But anyway, no, I think this is incredible information. And I know the guys are really looking forward to talking to you. Listen, we'd love to have you come on again. All right.
We would love
absolutely. I would love that. Absolutely.
And I want to know, listen, how do we get involved with your game show? Like, we want to be on that game show. We want to come through.
Oh, well, the idea, honestly, is that the game show is going to go from city to city. So it's being held here in Iowa. I mean, if you want to apply, there's going to be more information coming soon. I'm going to have a casting call for both men and women that's coming up in either August or beginning of September. But you can find all my information on my website, which is theheartagency.com.
Gotcha. Ms. Cat, thank you so much for spending time with us. We're sorry we ran a little over. I told you about 30 minutes, but we ran a little over, and I apologize.
That's okay. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, guys.
No, thank you.
Look forward to seeing you again.